The panel I was at before was the one on constitutional rights for the family. And I was wondering if you could comment on the relationship between your, you said that this is a doctrine, the public trust doctrine is a doctrine that applies to every country in the world, and I appreciate the work that you've done to demonstrate where there's been inklings of that in different jurisprudence, but a much more widely spread legal concept is the concept of actual constitutionally enshrined environmental rights. Do you have any thoughts on how this argument does or does not relate to those legally recognized rights or the jurisdictions where there still may be an argument of the right to life that's enshrined as an environmental component?
There's a lot. The question is, how does this doctrine relate to constitutionally enshrined rights throughout the world? Many nations now have constitutionally enshrined rights to life, right to environment. And so I think the best case to look at is the Oposa case, which is from the Philippines, which was a public trust case enjoining logging of the last 2% of forest on the Philippines. And they said these rights need not even be mentioned in the Constitution because they basically predate the Constitution. They're fundamental to humanity's self-interest in perpetuation and self-preservation. And so I come back to that analysis time and time again. These are such ancient rights. They predate the constitutions. They become part of the attribute of sovereignty of any nation that has consent from the people who are governing. However, if you do happen to have a constitutionally enshrined right, use it. And in India, in the Philippines as well, in South Africa, in many other nations, these public trust cases really fuse the two together.
And in Montana.
And Montana too.
Ma'am, go ahead.
Am I correct that every single state denied every single factual allegation in the complaints? And is that what I'm getting from here? So you have the states admitting that there is global climate change, but they're just denying that the courts have, that there's any legal remedy.
Right, I don't know that any state's gone so far to admit that we're on this terrible course with catastrophic effects, but, you know, the state...
Okay.
Washington was the one state to answer the complaint before they filed the motion to dismiss, so they have conceded significant harm. They also admit that James Hansen is the foremost climate change expert. They apologized to the judge for climate change at our argument. And then in the federal case where we filed a motion for a preliminary injunction and we submitted 13 declarations from the top climate scientists around the world, the government did not submit a single declaration opposing the harm. They have not disputed irreparable harm in our motion for a PI. So there's a lot akin to admissions going on.
So maybe that's somewhere to focus some thought into how to leverage that in terms of settlement, in terms of request.
Right, but you still have the problem if the judge doesn't believe he has the power to do this. Like in Arizona, for instance, the judge said in the hearing, you know, if everything is true, we're screwed on a climate level. But I don't, as a judge, have the ability to do this, so you're dismissed. And, you know, that's the problem, is communicating this to the judge that they don't just have the power, but they have the duty.
But I think the leverage you might be talking about is what I might have mentioned earlier, that if the state isn't disputing the harm, what is the role of these state attorneys? Who are these attorney generals who are disputing some sort of remedy that will save the lifespans of the children who are already born in their state? And so I think considerable pressure should be mounted against these state attorney generals, because it seems to me that when they take that position, they are representing the bureaucracies, not the public. And there should be some real clarification of who they are representing in these cases.
And I believe that some state attorneys have their duty in their office is to the public interest.
Yes.
And not to the state agencies or the governor's office. So it would work in every state, but
for the New Mexico ATL case, and I just wanted to comment that our judge is actually not afraid of this. She gave us a chance to amend our complaint. In fact, she pretty much asked us to do it. And she has stated that she believes there's a place for the public trust in New Mexico and that it could apply to the atmosphere, particularly in a situation where a state either did not have a regulatory scheme for the atmosphere in place or had one in place and wasn't following it. So there's at least some indication that she realizes that the court's role is to ensure that the legislature considers certain things, and one of those things is the impact to a public trust resource.
It's great.
I have a quick question.
Speak up.
To follow up on this gentleman's question, what is the appeal process after the cases that have been dismissed by judges claiming that they don't have the power to take action? I assume that those are being appealed. Are they being appealed?
Right, and I mean, the process is to just appeal it and say, Judge, you're wrong.
Right, but on what basis? What is your argument on appeal?
Well, right now for the Arizona case, which I'm involved in, we're still working that out exactly what we want to appeal, and it's kind of hard when the district court doesn't actually issue a written opinion with any sort of reasoning for their decision. But, so, I mean, just arguing the same points, the courts have the authority to do this. We have this crisis on our hands. The public trust doctrine has been around forever. It continues to be around. Even if a legislature says the public trust doctrine doesn't apply, they don't have the right to do that. So it's just this inherent thing that the judges have this power and duty that they need to do. So conveying that to the appeals courts and you know, just getting them to acknowledge that the atmosphere is a trust resource and that the state has these obligations.
Folks, do you have a final word?
I do have a final word where the panel's over. Let me say this. These courts, these judges are human beings. They read the papers, they talk to people. What we all need to do is to make this a normative expectation of our democracy. We all need to take the public trust because we all own the atmosphere in common with our descendants. We all need to take that ownership and really act as if we own it and create it as part of our cultural fabric so these judges won't feel that they are doing something very scary. So it's ours. Let's all take it forth in our very own way and own this thing together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.